The space station shook hard. Karen Martinez held her medical bag close to her chest. Her hands were shaking. All around her, people were screaming. The walls were covered in smoke. She could barely see anything. Just 3 weeks ago, her life was normal. She worked on a big spaceship called the Valiant. She fixed small problems like twisted ankles and colds. Now everything was different. Now she was trapped on a dying station above a planet called New Haven. 2 groups were fighting. Humans on one side, aliens called the Vrelnir on the other side. And Karen was stuck in the middle. The lights kept turning on and off. Everything looked red. Karen moved from one hurt soldier to another. She had learned something important in these past weeks. If you panic, you die faster. So she stayed calm. She worked fast but careful. A young soldier had burns on his face. She put medicine on it. Another soldier had metal pieces stuck in his shoulder. She pulled them out and wrapped the wound. Her training took over. She did not think. She just worked. Then she saw something that made her stop. Through all the smoke, something was crawling toward her. At first, she thought it was another soldier. But then she saw it better. This was not human. This was huge. Even on its hands and knees, it was almost 8 feet tall. It wore black and gold armor. The armor was broken in many places. Blue liquid dripped from its body. It had 4 arms. It was a Vrelnir. The enemy. Karen stopped moving. Her heart beat fast. Her hand went to the gun on her belt. The creature looked at her with 6 big eyes. It made a sound like metal grinding together. Was it trying to attack her? Was it asking for help? The alien fell down. Its huge body hit the floor hard. Karen saw the marks on its armor now. She had seen these marks in training. This was not just a regular soldier. This was someone important, a leader. Maybe even a general. She should let it die. That would be smart. That would be safe. One less enemy leader meant fewer dead humans. Everyone would understand. But Karen did not become a doctor to watch people die. Her hands moved before her brain could stop them. She pulled out her medical scanner. She ran it over the alien body. The screen showed numbers and words. None of it made sense. She had never learned about alien bodies. She had no training for this. She did not know what to do. All she had was her gut feeling. And her gut said to help. Blue blood was pouring out of a big hole in the alien chest. Karen pressed her hand on it. She pushed down hard. The alien body jumped. Its mouth parts clicked fast. She grabbed her biggest bandage. She wrapped it around the wound. It barely fit around the huge body. The alien was breathing weird. Karen could tell something was very wrong. She took out a shot of medicine. This medicine helped humans who were badly hurt. Would it help an alien? Would it kill it? She did not know. She gave the shot anyway. For a few long seconds, nothing happened. Karen held her breath. Then the blue blood started flowing slower. The weird breathing got better. The 6 eyes looked at her again. This time Karen saw something different in those eyes. Something that worked across species. The alien understood what she did. It was grateful. The station shook again. This time it was worse. Somewhere close by, a wall fell down. Karen knew they only had a few minutes left. Soon this whole section would break open. Then everyone would die. She pulled out her emergency signal and turned it on. It would tell the rescue teams where to find them. If any rescue teams were still alive. Then she sat down next to the alien general. She looked at all the hurt human soldiers around her. She looked at the destruction everywhere. She thought about what she just did. This alien had probably killed humans. It led attacks on human colonies. It was her enemy. Everyone would say she was stupid for saving it. Some would say she was a traitor. But when Karen looked at that huge alien body bleeding on the floor, she did not see an enemy. She saw a patient. Someone who needed help. Someone who would die without her. She had taken an oath when she became a doctor. She promised to help the sick and hurt. The oath did not say to only help humans. It said to help everyone. Another explosion rocked the station.
Closer this time.
Karen could hear metal tearing. The air was getting thin. She checked the alien vital signs again. Still stable. She checked on the human soldiers. 3 were unconscious but alive. 2 were awake and watching her with confused faces. "Why did you save that thing?" one soldier asked. His voice was weak. "Because it was dying," Karen said simply. "It is the enemy." "It is a patient," Karen replied. The soldier looked at her like she was crazy. Maybe she was. Maybe saving an enemy general was the stupidest thing she ever did. Maybe it would come back to hurt humanity. Maybe she just helped someone who would kill more humans later. Or maybe, just maybe, saving one life could matter, even if it was an enemy life. The rescue team arrived 40 minutes later. Karen had never been so happy to see anyone in her life. But her happiness did not last long. The team leader looked at the alien general. Then he looked at Karen. His face was angry. "What is that thing doing alive?" he asked. "I saved it," Karen said. "You saved it?" The team leader voice got louder. "That thing has killed hundreds of our people. Maybe thousands. I'm a medic," Karen said. She stood up. She was scared, but she kept her voice steady. "I help wounded people. All wounded people." 3 soldiers pointed their guns at the alien. The team leader face was red. "Kill it," he said. "No," Karen said. She stepped between the guns and the alien. "You will have to shoot through me." The team leader stared at her. Nobody moved. The moment stretched out. Karen thought her heart would explode. Then the team leader radio crackled. A voice came through. "This is Captain Rodriguez. Bring everyone back alive. That includes the alien. That is an order." The team leader face got even redder, but he lowered his gun. The other soldiers did the same. "You are making a mistake," he told Karen. "Maybe," Karen said. "But it is my mistake to make." They loaded everyone onto the rescue ship. The human soldiers went first. Then they carefully moved the huge alien body. Karen stayed with it the whole time. She watched its vital signs. She made sure the bandages stayed tight. As the rescue ship pulled away from the dying station, Karen looked back. She could see the station breaking apart. Pieces of metal floating into space. If the rescue team had been 5 minutes later, they would all be dead now. She looked down at the unconscious alien general. What had she started? What would happen because of her choice? She did not know. All she knew was that when faced with letting someone die or saving them, she chose to save. That had to count for something. The spaceship Valiant was big and cold. Karen walked through the halls carrying medical supplies. Everyone she passed stared at her. Some looked angry. Some looked confused. Nobody smiled. Word had spread fast. The human medic saved an alien general, the enemy leader, the one responsible for killing hundreds of humans. She saved him. Karen tried to ignore the stares. She had a job to do. The alien was in the medical bay. It was still unconscious. She needed to check on it. When she entered the medical bay, 2 armed guards stood by the door. They watched her closely but said nothing. Inside, the alien lay on a specially made bed. It was too big for a normal human bed. The medical team had to put 3 beds together. Dr. Helen Chen was there. She was the head doctor on the ship. She looked tired. Very tired. "We almost lost it twice during the night," Helen said. "Its body is so different from ours. Everything we know about medicine does not work the same way." Karen looked at the screens showing the alien vital signs. The numbers were strange. Nothing like human numbers. But she could tell the alien was getting stronger. "Will it live?" Karen asked. Helen looked at her for a long moment. "I think so. Thanks to you, you stopped the bleeding fast. You gave it that medicine. Nobody knows why it worked, but it did." Karen felt relief wash over her. Then she felt guilt. Should she be happy the alien was alive? How many human families lost someone because of this general? "The captain wants to see you," Helen said quietly. "He is not happy." Karen walked to the captain office with heavy steps. She knew what was coming. Captain Rodriguez was a good man, but he had lost people in this war. Everyone had lost someone. The captain office was small and plain. He sat behind his desk looking at reports. When Karen entered, he looked up. His face was hard to read. "Sit down, Lieutenant Martinez," he said. Karen sat. She kept her back straight. She was not ashamed of what she did. Scared of the consequences, yes, but not ashamed. "Do you know who you saved?" the captain asked. "A wounded patient," Karen said. The captain's lips formed a thin line. "General Sathran, 5th Commander of the Dominion Fleet, the alien responsible for the attack on Colony 7. 3,000 civilians died there. Children, families, all gone." Karen felt sick. She knew the war was bad, but hearing specific numbers made it real. "I did not know who it was," she said quietly. "I just knew it was dying. Would it have mattered?" The captain asked. "If you knew, would you have let it die?" Karen thought about it. Really thought about it. Then she shook her head. No, sir, I am a medic. I took an oath. The captain was quiet for a long time. Then he sighed. Half my crew wants me to throw you in the brig. The other half thinks you are the bravest person on this ship. Command does not know what to do with you. What do you think, sir? Karen asked. I think you did what you thought was right, the captain said. I think you followed your training and your conscience. I also think you may have just made this war more complicated, sir. The Vrelnir contacted us. They want their general back. They are offering a prisoner exchange. 10 of our people for one of theirs. Karen Hart jumped. 10 humans would come home. 10 families would be whole again. Because she saved one alien. That is good news, sir. Maybe, the captain said. Or maybe we are giving back their best military mind. Time will tell. Dismissed. Karen stood and left. She went back to the medical bay. She had to see the alien one more time before the exchange. When she got there, she got a surprise. The alien was awake. Those 6 eyes tracked her as she entered. The huge body was still lying down, but it was alert now. Aware. The mouth parts moved. A sound came out. The computer on the wall beeped and showed words in English. You are the one who saved me, the computer voice said. Flat and emotionless, but the words were clear. Karen nodded. Yes, why? It was a simple question. But Karen did not have a simple answer. She thought about all the reasons. Her training, her oath, her belief that all life had value. In the end, she said the truest thing she could think of. Because you needed help. The alien was quiet. Its mouth parts moved again. I am General Zathran. I have led battles against your people. I have ordered attacks on your homes. I'm your enemy. You were dying, Karen said. That was all that mattered. The alien made a sound. The computer did not translate it. Karen wondered what it meant. This is not how Vrelnir think, the general said finally. We do not save enemies. We do not show mercy. It is weakness. Maybe that is why you are losing, Karen said. The words came out before she could stop them. She felt her face get hot. She just insulted an enemy general, but the general did not get angry. Instead, it made that sound again. Then the computer beeped with a new word. Laughter. The alien was laughing. You are bold, human medic, the general said. Perhaps you are correct. Perhaps mercy is not weakness. You showed me mercy when I was helpless. That took more courage than killing me would have. Karen did not know what to say. She had expected anger or confusion. Not this. Not understanding. What is your name? The general asked. Karen Martinez, the general repeated. I will remember this name. I will remember what you did. The next day, the prisoner exchange happened. Karen watched from the observation deck as a small ship arrived. The alien general was taken away on a stretcher. It was still weak but alive, strong enough to survive the trip home. 10 human prisoners came back. They were thin and tired, but they were alive. Their families would see them again. Karen watched them reunite with the crew, saw the tears and hugs, saw the joy. One of the returned prisoners, a pilot named Chris Walker, came to find her later. You are the medic who saved the general, he said. Karen nodded. Chris grabbed her hand and shook it hard. Thank you. I get to see my kids again because of you. I do not care what anyone says. You are a hero. Karen felt tears in her eyes. She was not a hero. She was just a medic who did her job. But maybe, just maybe, doing your job the right way could save more than one life. That night, Karen lay in her bunk thinking about General Zathran. The alien had said it would remember her name. What did that mean? Would they meet again? Would the general come back to fight more battles? She did not know. All she knew was that she had made a choice. A choice to save a life instead of taking one. A choice to show mercy instead of hate. Whether that choice mattered in the big picture of the war, she could not say. But it mattered to those 10 humans who came home. It mattered to their families. And maybe, just maybe, it mattered to one alien general who learned that humans could show mercy even to their worst enemies. 3 months went by. The war did not stop. If anything, it got worse. Karen was sent to a field hospital on the planet New Haven. The fighting there was terrible. Every day brought more wounded soldiers. Every day she worked until she could barely stand. She tried not to think about General Zathran. Tried not to wonder if saving the alien was a mistake. Was the general back in the war? Was it leading more attacks? Did it remember her at all? Then strange reports started coming in. Lieutenant Paul Hayes was the intelligence officer at the base. He came to find Karen one morning while she was eating breakfast. His face looked confused. Something weird is happening, he said. The Vrelnir are acting different. Different how? Karen asked. They pulled back from 3 battle zones last week. No reason, they just left. And yesterday, they let a civilian transport pass through their space. No attack, no questions. They just let it go. Karen put down her food. That did not sound like the Vrelnir. They never showed mercy. They never let targets escape. There is more, Paul said. We got reports of a Vrelnir medical ship. It was treating wounded humans. Not killing them. Not capturing them. Treating them. Karen felt her heart beat faster. Could it be? Could her actions have caused this? Command thinks it might be a trick, Paul continued, but nobody can figure out what kind of trick. It makes no tactical sense. Over the next 2 weeks, more reports came in. Vrelnir forces were still fighting, but they were fighting differently. They were avoiding civilian areas. They were allowing medical ships to pass. They were even helping wounded humans in some cases. The commanders were going crazy trying to understand it. The Vrelnir had never acted like this before. What changed? Karen thought she knew, but she kept quiet. She had no proof. And who would believe her anyway? One medic could not change an entire alien military. Then the message arrived. It came through official channels. High-level encryption. So important that the base commander had to be there when it was opened. Karen was called to the command center. She had no idea why. Commander Stevens was a tough woman. She had fought the Vrelnir for 5 years. She did not trust them at all. When Karen entered, the commander's face was hard. Lieutenant Martinez, the commander said. You have an interesting message. From who, ma'am? Karen asked. From General Zathran. The alien you saved. The room went quiet. Everyone stared at Karen. She felt her face get hot. The general wants to meet with you, the commander continued. Face to face. Under truce conditions. On neutral ground, why? Karen whispered. The commander read from the screen. The human medic Karen Martinez showed me that mercy is not weakness. I wish to discuss whether our species must remain enemies. Karen could not breathe. This was real. This was actually happening. Her choice to save one alien was leading to something bigger, something important. It is obviously a trap, one of the officers said. They want to capture her. Get revenge maybe, the commander said. Or maybe it is real. Either way, this is above my level. I sent it up to high command. They will decide. 3 days later, the decision came back. Karen would go to the meeting. But she would not go alone. A full diplomatic team would go with her. Plus security. Lots of security. The meeting place was an old station called Harmony. It was in neutral space. Neither side controlled it. It had been abandoned for years. Now it would host the most important meeting of the war. Karen put on her dress uniform. She looked at herself in the mirror. Just a medic. Just someone who tried to do the right thing. Now she was going to meet with an alien general to talk about peace. How did her life get so strange? The trip to Harmony Station took 6 hours. Karen sat in the transport ship surrounded by diplomats and soldiers. Everyone was nervous. Nobody knew what to expect. When they docked at the station, Karen was the first to walk through the airlock. The diplomats wanted her in front. She was the one the general asked for. The observation deck was huge. Windows showed the stars outside. And standing in the middle of the room was General Zathran. The alien looked different now. Fully healed. The armor was new and clean. But those 6 eyes were the same. They focused on Karen the moment she entered. Lieutenant Martinez, the general said through the translator. I am pleased to see you well. General Zathran, Karen replied. Her voice only shook a little. I heard you have been making changes. The alien mouth parts moved. The translator called it laughter. Yes. Changes. You would be surprised how many of my people are angry with me. Why did you do it? Karen asked. Why change anything? The general moved closer. Its huge frame was still intimidating, but Karen did not feel afraid. Not anymore because you taught me something, the general said. In Vrelnir culture, we believe compassion makes you weak. We teach our young that mercy is for the defeated, but you showed me mercy when I was defeated, and it took more strength than any warrior I have known. I just did my job, Karen said. Exactly, the general replied. You did your job, even when that job was hard. Even when everyone would have understood if you let me die. You chose to save me. That choice made me question everything. The general walked to the window. It looked out at the stars. I went before the Dominion Council. I told them about you, about human medical ethics, about how you treat even your enemies with care. Some called me a fool. Some called me a traitor, but some listened. Karen guessed. Yes, some listened. The war is expensive. We are losing soldiers every day. And for what? To fight a species that shows honor even in battle? A species that saves the lives of enemies. We started this war because we saw humans as primitive and dangerous, the general continued. But in your single act of mercy, I saw something my people have forgotten. The strength to choose compassion even when destruction would be easier. Karen joined the general at the window. So what happens now? Now we see if mercy can be stronger than hate, the general said. Now we see if two species can find peace. Behind them, the human diplomats were already talking with Vrelnir officials. The real work was beginning. The hard work of ending a war. It would not be easy. Both sides had lost too much. Both sides had reasons to hate. But maybe, just maybe, they also had a reason to try. And it all started because one medic chose to save a life instead of take it. The peace talk started slowly. Both sides were careful. Nobody trusted anyone. Every word was argued over. Every agreement took days to reach. Karen sat in on some of the meetings. She was not a diplomat. She did not understand all the political talk. But both sides wanted her there. She was a symbol. Proof that humans and Vrelnir could work together. Ambassador Lisa Grant led the human side. She was smart and tough. She did not trust the Vrelnir, but she wanted peace. Too many humans had died already. The Vrelnir sent Counselor Vresh. The alien was old, even by Vrelnir standards. It moved slowly but spoke with authority. Like the ambassador, it wanted peace but did not trust easily. The first week of talks almost failed. The human side wanted the Vrelnir to pull back from 3 systems. The Vrelnir refused. They said those systems were theirs by right of conquest. Arguments turned into shouting. Shouting turned into threats. People walked out. For a day, it looked like the whole thing was over. Then General Zathran did something unexpected. The general called for a private meeting. Just Zathran, Karen, Ambassador Grant, and Counselor Vresh. No other officials. No security. Just the 4 of them in a small room. We are going about this wrong, the general said. We are trying to win the peace like we tried to win the war. That will not work. What do you suggest? The ambassador asked. Her voice was cold. The general looked at Karen. Tell them why you saved me. Karen was surprised. Everyone knew the story by now. But she answered anyway. Because you were dying. Because it was the right thing to do. You did not think about politics, the general said. You did not think about what you would gain. You just did what was right. That is what we need here. Counselor Vresh spoke up. General Zathran is correct. We are negotiating like enemies trying to hurt each other less. We should be negotiating like future allies trying to help each other more. That is a nice idea, Ambassador Grant said. But my people have suffered. They want justice and my people want honor, the counselor replied. We cannot give you justice for past wrongs. You cannot give us back our honor. But we can build something new together. The ambassador was quiet for a long time. Then she looked at Karen. Do you think peace is possible? Karen thought carefully before answering. I think if I can save an enemy general, and if that general can change an entire military culture, then yes, peace is possible. But only if we all choose it. Something changed in that small room. The 4 of them talked for hours, not about territory or demands, about what peace could actually look like, about what both sides needed to feel safe, about how to build trust. When they came out, they had the outline of a real agreement. The next 3 months were intense. Karen watched as the peace slowly took shape. There were still fights, still disagreements, but now both sides were actually trying. The breakthrough came from an unexpected place. General Zathran brought up an old Vrelnir tradition called Threxnol. It meant life debt. When someone saved your life, you owed them everything. The general made a formal declaration before both councils. Humanity, through Karen Martinez, had saved not just one Vrelnir life. They had shown the Vrelnir a better way, a way of honor through mercy instead of honor through strength. The debt could only be repaid through genuine peace. It was brilliant. By making peace a matter of honor, the general gave the Vrelnir a way to end the war without looking weak. And humanity was willing to be generous. Both sides could claim victory. Karen was asked to speak to both councils. She stood before hundreds of humans and Vrelnir. Her hands shook. Her voice was quiet at first. I am not a soldier, she said. I am not a diplomat. I am just a medic. My job is to heal people. All people. When I saw General Zathran dying, I did not see an enemy. I saw someone who needed help. She paused, looking around the room. If we can heal bodies, we can heal relationships. If I can save one alien life, we can save thousands of human and Vrelnir lives by choosing peace. The room was silent when she finished. Then someone started clapping. Then another. Soon the whole room was clapping. Humans and Vrelnir together. The Treaty of New Haven was signed 6 months after that first meeting on Harmony Station. It was not perfect. Both sides kept their military. Both sides kept their territory. But it established rules, ways to communicate, ways to trade. Most importantly, protections for civilians and medical workers on both sides. Karen stood at the back during the signing ceremony. She watched as human and Vrelnir leaders put their marks on the document. It felt surreal. All of this because she pressed a bandage on a wound? After the ceremony, General Zathran found her. The alien was with 2 other Vrelnir she had never met. These are Counselors Vresh and Thinak, the general explained. They have a proposal for you. Counselor Vresh spoke through the translator. We have studied your human medical principles. The oath you take to heal and not harm. We find it compelling. We wish to create a joint medical academy, Counselor Thinak added. A place where humans and Vrelnir can learn from each other, where we can train the next generation to heal instead of hurt. We would be honored if you would help create it, Vresh finished. Karen stared at them. A joint academy, humans and Vrelnir training together, learning together. Building something new from the ashes of war. I am just a medic, she said softly. General Zathran made that sound that meant laughter. Yes, Lieutenant Martinez, you are just a medic. And you changed the galaxy. Karen looked at the treaty document, then at the Vrelnir counselors, then at the general who she had saved a year ago. She thought about all the wounded soldiers she had treated, all the lives that could have been saved if this war had never started. She could not bring back the dead. She could not undo the pain and loss, but maybe she could help make sure it never happened again. Maybe she could train others to choose healing over hurting. Yes, she said. I will help. The counselors nodded in approval. General Zathran placed one of its huge hands on her shoulder. It was meant to be a gesture of respect, of friendship. Karen Martinez had gone to war as a medic. She had expected to spend her time patching up soldiers and sending them back to fight. Instead, she helped end the war. Not with weapons, not with strategy, but with one simple act of compassion, and now she would help build the peace. One student at a time, one trained medic at a time, one life saved at a time. It was not the career she had planned, but it was the career she was meant for. 2 years passed. The Martinez-Zathran Medical Academy floated in orbit above New Haven, the same planet where the war had been fought. Now it was a symbol of peace. Karen walked through the halls of the academy. Around her, human students and Vrelnir students moved together. They talked and laughed. They studied side by side. Some of them were already friends. It still amazed her. 2 years ago, these 2 species were killing each other. Now they were learning to heal together. The academy had grown faster than anyone expected. They started with 20 students. Now they had over 200. And it was not just humans and Vrelnir anymore. 3 other alien species had asked to join. The academy was becoming something bigger than anyone imagined. Karen taught classes now. Basic traumakar, field medicine, medical ethics. She was not a great teacher at first. She was used to doing, not explaining, but she got better. The students helped her improve. Her favorite class was ethics. She would tell the students about the day she saved General Zathran, about the choice she made, about how one decision can change everything. Some students always asked the same question. What if the general had gone back to fighting? What if saving it led to more human deaths? Karen's answer was always the same. I could not know the future. All I could do was make the right choice in that moment. I chose to save a life. I would make that choice again. Today was special. The first class was graduating. 50 humans, 43 Vrelnir, 12 from other species, all trained in the new combined curriculum, all ready to go out and heal instead of harm. Karen stood in the observation dome looking out at the stars. She was nervous. She had to give a speech at the graduation. Public speaking still scared her. "You look worried," a familiar voice said. She turned. General Zathran walked toward her. The alien visited the academy often. Zathran had retired from military service to focus on diplomatic work. But the general always made time for the academy. "I am thinking about my speech," Karen admitted. "You will do fine." "You always do." They stood together watching ships come and go from the academy. It was comfortable. Over the past 2 years, they had become friends. It was strange. A human and a Vrelnir, a medic and a general, but it worked. "Do you ever think about that day?" Karen asked. "On the station?" "Every day," the general replied. "I was dying. I had accepted death. Then you chose to save me. That choice changed everything. I just did my job." "No," Zathran said firmly. "You did more than your job. You showed mercy to an enemy. That is not common. In my culture, it was unheard of. You taught me that compassion is strength, not weakness." "And you taught your people," Karen added. "I tried. Not everyone listened. Some still think I am a traitor. But enough listened. Enough to make peace possible." A young Vrelnir student walked by. It nodded respectfully at the general. Then it smiled at Karen. Actually smiled. Vrelnir did not used to smile at humans. That was new. "You know," Karen said thoughtfully, "when I joined the military, I thought I would spend my career fixing injuries and sending soldiers back to fight. I never imagined this." "You did not end the war alone," the general said. "We ended it together. Your mercy gave me courage to question everything. My questions made the council listen. Their listening gave both our peoples a chance. It was like dominoes falling," Karen mused. One action led to another, each one bigger than the last. Exactly. That is the power of choosing right over easy. You could have walked away. Everyone would have understood. But you chose the harder path. An announcement came over the speakers. "All faculty to the auditorium." The graduation was starting soon. "Are you ready?" the general asked. Karen took a deep breath. "As ready as I will ever be." They walked to the auditorium together. The huge room was packed. Students in their graduation robes, proud families, other faculty members, even some government officials from both species. Karen sat on the stage with the other speakers. Her heart pounded. She had her speech written down. But when it was her turn to speak, she put the paper away. She would speak from the heart. She stood and walked to the podium. Hundreds of faces looked up at her. Human and alien, young and eager. "Thank you all for being here," she began. Her voice was stronger than she expected. "Today we celebrate something special. Not just a graduation, but proof that former enemies can become friends, can become colleagues, can work together to heal instead of hurt." She paused, looking at the graduates. "You all know my story. How I saved an alien general during the war. People call me brave. They call me a hero. But I was not brave. I was scared. And I am not a hero. I am just a medic who did her job. What I learned that day is this. We all have choices. Every day we choose between hate and compassion, between revenge and mercy, between destruction and healing. Those choices matter. They ripple outward in ways we cannot predict." She looked at General Zathran sitting in the front row. The alien nodded encouragingly. "I saved one life, just one. But that one life belonged to someone who could change minds, who could question old beliefs, who could help build peace. I could not have known that. All I knew was that someone needed help." Karen's voice got stronger. "That is what I want you to remember as you leave here. You are not just medics. You are not just healers. You are proof that different species can work together. You are bridges between worlds. Every patient you save, every hand you heal, every life you touch will ripple outward. Some of you will treat humans. Some will treat Vrelnir. Some will treat species we have not even met yet. But all of you will make the same choice I made. To heal instead of harm. To show mercy instead of hate. To choose compassion even when it is hard." She smiled. "That is the oath you took. That is the promise you made. And I believe every one of you will keep that promise." The auditorium erupted in applause. Karen felt tears in her eyes. She looked at the graduates. So young, so full of hope. They would go out into the galaxy and make it better. One patient at a time. After the ceremony, graduates came to thank her, to shake her hand, to tell her their plans, where they would go, who they would help. A young human named Kevin Lewis said he was going to a border station. Equal numbers of humans and Vrelnir lived there. He would run a clinic for both. A Vrelnir named Threll said it was joining a disaster response team, helping anyone who needed it regardless of species, story after story, dream after dream. All of them focused on healing, on helping, on building bridges. "This is your legacy," General Zathran said, coming to stand beside her. "These young healers going out to change the galaxy." "Our legacy," Karen corrected. "I saved you. You changed your people. Together we built this." The general made the sound of laughter. "Always humble. That is very human of you." They watched the last of the graduates leave. Soon the auditorium was empty except for the two of them. "What do you think happens next?" Karen asked. "After this? After the academy?" The general looked thoughtful. "More academies. More cooperation. Maybe one day humans and Vrelnir will not even remember being enemies. Maybe we will just be neighbors, friends, partners." "That would be nice," Karen said softly. "It would. And it all started because you chose mercy in a moment when hate would have been easier." Karen thought about that day on the station. The smoke and fire. The dying alien at her feet. The choice that changed everything. She had been so scared. So uncertain. She never imagined her choice would matter beyond that moment. But it did. It rippled outward, touching lives she would never meet, changing the galaxy in ways she could not have predicted. That was the power of compassion. That was the strength of mercy. One choice, one act, one life saved, and everything changed. 5 years after the treaty, 5 years after that first graduation, Karen Martinez stood in the same observation dome where she had stood so many times before. But this time was different. This time she was saying goodbye. The academy had grown beyond anything she imagined. There were now 5 campuses across the sector, over 1,000 students, graduates working in every corner of known space. The Martinez-Zathran Medical Academy was famous, a symbol of what cooperation could achieve. But Karen was tired. She had given 5 years to building something beautiful. Now it was time to pass it on to others, younger teachers, fresh voices, new ideas. The academy would continue without her. She was going back to what she loved most, field medicine. There was a refugee camp on the edge of the sector. Thousands of people from a dozen species, all displaced by various conflicts, all needing medical care. Karen had volunteered to go there, to do what she did best, help people one at a time. A small shuttle would take her there tomorrow. But tonight there was a farewell party. She did not want a party, but the students insisted. The faculty insisted. Even General Zathran insisted. The party was in the main hall. Hundreds of people. Music and food and laughter. Karen moved through the crowd accepting thanks and well wishes. She was not good at this. She never liked being the center of attention. "Dr. Karen Martinez," a voice called out. She turned. It was Kevin Lewis, the young graduate from that first class. He was not so young anymore. He had spent 5 years running that border clinic. His hair was turning gray. "Kevin," she said warmly, "you came. I thought you were too busy. Too busy to thank the woman who changed my life." "Never," he smiled. "I brought someone." A Vrelnir stepped forward. It was smaller than most. Young. It wore the uniform of a medical student. "This is Zell," Kevin said. "It wants to study here. Learn from the best. I told it you were leaving, but the academy will still teach what you taught us." The young Vrelnir spoke through a translator. "I read about you in school. How you saved General Zathran. How you started the peace. You are famous." Karen felt embarrassed. "I am not famous. I just did what was right." "That is what makes you famous," Zell replied. "You did not do it for glory. You did it because it was right. That is what we learn here. To do right even when it is hard." More people came to talk to her. Former students, fellow teachers, government officials. Everyone had a story. Someone she had taught, someone her students had saved. The ripples spreading outward, touching more lives than she could count. Finally, General Zathran approached. The alien looked older now, too, moving a bit slower, but those 6 eyes were still sharp. "So you are really leaving," the general said. "I am. The academy does not need me anymore. It is strong on its own." The general made a thoughtful sound. "You built something that will outlast both of us. That is a good legacy." They walked together to a quieter corner, away from the noise and crowds. Just the two of them. Like that first meeting on Harmony Station 7 years ago. "Do you remember when you asked me why I saved you?" Karen said. "I remember everything about that day. Sathrin replied. I told you it was because you needed help. That was true, but it was also because I could not live with myself if I let you die, even if you were my enemy, even if it was dangerous. I had to try. The general was quiet for a moment. In my culture, we have a saying, the first drop creates the ripple. You were that first drop. Everything else followed. I think we were both that first drop, Karen said. You chose to question your beliefs. That took courage too. We make a good team, the general said. A human medic and a Vrelnir general. Nobody would have predicted it. They stood in comfortable silence, watching the party through the window. So many species mixing freely now. So different from 7 years ago when humans and Vrelnir would not even speak to each other. What will you do? Karen asked. After I leave? Continue the diplomatic work. There are other conflicts in the sector. Maybe the human Vrelnir model can work elsewhere. Maybe we can help others find peace. That sounds like you. Karen smiled, always thinking bigger. I learned from the best. You taught me that one person can make a difference. Now I try to help others make that same difference. The next morning, Karen packed her few belongings. She traveled light, always had a bag of clothes, her medical kit, a few personal items. That was all she needed. The shuttle was waiting at the dock. General Sathrin was there to see her off, along with dozens of students and teachers. Karen hugged the humans. She respectfully touched hands with the Vrelnir in their greeting gesture. She felt tears threatening but held them back. Take care of each other, she told them. Remember why we built this place. Not for glory or fame, but to heal, to help, to show that different species can work together. We will make you proud, someone called out. You already have, Karen replied. She boarded the shuttle. Found her seat by the window. As the shuttle pulled away from the academy, she looked back one last time. The huge station floating in space, her home for 5 years, her greatest achievement, but she did not feel sad. She felt proud and ready for the next challenge. The refugee camp needed her. Thousands of people living in terrible conditions. Not enough food, not enough shelter, and definitely not enough medical care. She would go there and do what she did best. Help one person at a time. Maybe she would save a life that would ripple outward like hers did. Maybe not. It did not matter. What mattered was doing the right thing. Helping those who needed help. Showing compassion even when it was hard. That was the lesson she learned on that burning station 7 years ago. That was the lesson she taught at the academy. And that was the lesson she would carry with her for the rest of her life. 20 years later, the historians would write about her. They would call her the woman who ended a war. The founder of the greatest medical academy in the sector. A bridge between species. A hero. But Karen Martinez never thought of herself that way. When young medics asked her about that day on the station, she always gave the same answer. I was just doing my job. I saw someone dying and I tried to help. That is what medics do. That is what we should all do. Help when we can. Show mercy when we have the power to harm. Choose compassion over hatred. Those choices matter. They ripple outward in ways we cannot predict. One act of kindness can change everything. Never forget that. Never underestimate the power of choosing right over easy. And she meant it. Every word. Because she had seen it happen. She had lived it. One choice in a smoke-filled corridor. One decision to save instead of harm. One act of mercy that changed the galaxy. That was her story. That was her legacy. Not the academy or the awards or the fame, but the simple truth that compassion is strength. That mercy is courage. That one person really can make a difference. Karen Martinez knew that truth. She lived it every day. And she passed it on to everyone she met. That was enough. That was everything. The shuttle flew on through the stars, carrying one medic to her next mission. One woman with a simple belief. That every life matters. That compassion can change the world. That we all have the power to choose kindness over cruelty. And as long as people like Karen Martinez existed, as long as they made those choices, there was hope. Hope for peace. Hope for understanding. Hope for a galaxy where different species did not fight but helped each other. That hope started with one medic saving one alien general, but it grew into something beautiful, something lasting, something that would echo through the ages. And it all began with a simple choice, a choice anyone could make, a choice we all face every day. The choice to help instead of harm, to show mercy instead of hate, to be compassionate instead of cruel. That was the real story. Not about one woman being a hero, but about all of us having the power to change the world, one choice at a time. One act of kindness at a time. One life saved at a time. That was humanity's greatest strength. Not weapons or ships or technology, but the simple belief that every life has value, that compassion matters, that mercy is not weakness but the highest form of courage. And Karen Martinez proved it. One medic, one choice, one life saved, and the galaxy would never be the same.